Okay, if you are here in this video, I know you are looking for simple answers to simple questions. Your question must be either how to check the version, how to know whether Log4j1 or any of your version that you can see in your system is vulnerable or not, and how to upgrade if it is vulnerable, right? Welcome to Money, Love, and Life. Today we'll answer to straight questions in a very simplified manner. And here we go. So to check the version, I have earlier mentioned in my previous video, but to give you a very specific point-wise understanding of it, here it is how we do it. We search in the libraries, we scan the class path, we scan all user installed jar files, and we upgrade the vulnerable version if it is, right? How we do it? There will be codes that I can give you because those are already published. It depends only on your application, which application you are using. Basis of that, we can give you the exact codes or you can find it yourself. I'll give you the links. Hold on, bear with me. We'll come back to this question. We'll come back to this process again. But let's go to the next question. So, time and again, I have already made 3 videos. So, I know by now that there is a ambiguity, there is a confusion revolving around whether Log4j1 is vulnerable or not. Apache has clearly mentioned Log4j2 to anything up to Log4j 2.15 is vulnerable, right? So why do they not mention about Log4j1, and why do often most of the vendors even write that Log4j1 is not vulnerable? Because they are following Log4j information from Apache. So if Apache is writing it is not vulnerable, then they could have quoted them. But they're trying to interpret what is not mentioned over there. So, for example, SolarWinds is one of the tools that I use personally, and I can see the vendor has mentioned that Log4j1, that version is not under the vulnerability radar. But that's not true because Log4j1 is obsolete in the dictionary of Apache. What I mean by that means Apache has already announced end of life for Log4j1 product. Means any product that we buy from a vendor will be given a service up to a date, right? But when there is a newer version, that end of life will be reached, and then they will no more be accountable for any services, any associated vulnerabilities, or anything, any problems you face, nothing. So they do not mention about Log4j1, but Log4j1 definitely had several vulnerabilities, which is why new versions came into picture. So the recent ones, for example, CVE 45105, the recent one is probably something which has nothing to do with Log4j1. But if you are very comfortable and you are keeping Log4j1, do not expect that your system is not in vulnerability scope, because some of the other vulnerability which was tackled by Apache long back in 2015 is still affecting your system. Enough said, and you are now smart enough to understand that yes, even if you are in Log4j1, please move to the later versions. Okay, now I'll understand how to upgrade. To understand how to upgrade, I'll take specific examples. I'll take 1 or 2 examples. Okay, so to begin with, first, I'll show you where we get the documents. Don't go after blogs. Don't read random blogs and pick up information, run those codes, and choke your applications. There are specific information in very specific websites where you need to check things. For example, how to know whether what version you are in is affected or not. So Apache website is the only authentic place to check which vulnerability is in place, what is the patch, what is the latest release, and here is the website. I'll give the link in the details below. Number one, you will get the download option over here where you can download in order to plan your update. Correct? So if you want to upgrade, you need this binary. You will see there is 2.17 over here. So just download this one. Simple. Okay. You need one more file. Remember this, I'll come to this later on. So when you are copying this file, besides this binary file, you will need one more file that is called ini file. I'll come to this later on. So this is link number one that you should visit rather than going haywire into different blogs, into different discussions. Straight away go to Apache to check what is the latest version that they have released. Number two. Now come to uh, this website. So this website, uh, GitHub, interestingly has listed several links. So you can see there are several links. I have showed this in my previous video, but I believe this requires further explanation. So all you need to do, these are nothing but different products, different vendor links. So vendors post on their own, they try to bring new hot fixes, new solutions to the vulnerability, and they post their document over here. So all you can do is you can go and do a search over here. You can do this find in page option. You can write, for example, I am looking for SolarWinds. Say this is my application. So unless you tell your application to me in the comment, I cannot help you, right? I can give you a generic answer. So similarly, I need to write here what product I am using and find out myself the link which is relevant to me. And the CVE information is important. You will see there is a specific CVE mentioned over here, correct? And I'll pick up my link which is relevant. Okay, so now you are in a position to decide where to go, which link to pick up, which will be your specific application, and you then can follow that document. Correct? So okay, 5% charge is left, and I think that's enough for me to complete this discussion. Next, let me come to the document straight away because I have searched my document already, and say SolarWinds I'll discuss. This is just an example, and this example is good enough, is fairly uh, written in a way that can be adapted in any application. So if you study this one document, you can replicate the same process in your application or in your environment. So first thing you need to know, what is the OS? It's Windows or Linux. So I am considering a Windows example. So here for people who are running in a Windows environment. So Orion has different products. SolarWinds uh, has the impact only on SAM application, say SAM and DPA. So SAM is server application monitor. So just forget all that. Come to what the solution they have given. So they are saying these are the steps. There are clear steps mentioned over here. So you see they're asking, they already have prepared a hotfix. By the time they have prepared this hotfix, they have made this hotfix, there was a newer version. So this hotfix was made keeping in mind that 2.16 is the latest. But then sadly there was another new version after a couple of days. So 2.17, they are asking that the hotfix is not yet ready, so they are asking to manually replace the affected file when it comes to 2.17. Okay, so here I start the steps. It's 1 2 3 4, and these are the steps you have to follow in any and every application. Okay, just a little bit of tweak is required, and that much you can figure out if you understand the core idea of what exactly is to be done. So number one, like I said, you have to download from the Apache link. Number one, very basic. You zip that file and extract to a temporary folder in your server or in your application environment. Just prepare a temporary folder and unzip the entire binary file that will come from that Apache link which I previously showed. Okay. Next, Orient Service Manager is nothing but the window where in my application, I get to see all the services. Basically, it's the list of services that's running in that particular application. So it's asking me to switch off, is to stop the JMX breach service. Why? Because it has been identified by whom? By the vendor, that only this particular service is being impacted by the vulnerable version of Log4j. So your vendor, if you approach them, they will tell you which services exactly are impacted. So similarly, like here for me, it is JMX breach that I need to turn off, turn it down, because I'll work within it. I'll replace the files within it. Similarly, you will turn down your applications which are, so on a safer side, you can turn down all your services for the time being. If you have, if it is not a production environment, or if it is a production environment but you have a change raised and you know what that you have a time frame to carry out this activity. Okay, so consider SolarWinds has JMX breach service impacted, so I am turning it down. Okay.